Hi, everyone. Welcome to 4-H Interviews with Pros. Tonight, we're excited to have Britton Singleton from Sevier County 4-H here to interview Chad Christ, a business unit leader in the plant and row unit assembly for John Deere Seeding Group. Thank you both so much for being here. For everyone watching live with us, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the comments and we'll be sure to answer them at the end of the interview. Britton, I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to you.
Thank you, Kelsey. Well, nice to meet you, Chris. I'm going to ask you a few questions and let's go from there. So could you tell us a little bit about what you do as a business leader at John Deere?
Yeah, so as a business unit leader for John Deere, we're responsible for production operations in one of our factories. So I work at the seeding molding factory where we produce planters and row units. So the row unit is what puts the seed into the ground. And so my production responsibilities include all of the assembly operations for the entire factory. So I've got a team of about 11 employees who supervise over 200 employees throughout the operation. We have 2 assembly lines for planters in our factory that I'm responsible for, as well as the row units. And the responsibilities for this position really cover all spectrums of production operations. So certainly foremost is the safety and well-being of all of our employees while at the facility. And then we're worried about quality production delivery. So ensuring that we're delivering high quality products to our customers on time. And then while also being productive and efficient. So making sure that we stay competitive in the marketplace in terms of our efficiencies. So the entire responsibility for the factory assembly operations reside on me and my team. And then I basically take it from my colleague, business unit leader on the fabrication, weld, and paint side of the operation. And then I take everything else through to the shipping of our planters to our customers and dealers.
It's awesome. Could you describe to us what a typical day at your job would look like for others in the same career?
Yeah, certainly. So basically, our operations run around the clock. So we have for some of our assembly operations, a third shift and a first shift. Our first shift starts at 6 a.m. in the morning. That's when the production operations begin for that first shift operation. So typically I'll take a walk through the factory in the morning, just kind of checking in with everybody, checking the pulse, seeing how things are starting up. Do we have any absenteeism? Did we have a productive and a safe third shift operation? So connecting with my team members on that. Just building relationships is a lot of all of the responsibility. If you think about being responsible for, over 220, 250 employees, depending upon the time of year, just really trying to connect with them and maintaining a good pulse of the operation. So that's a lot of each morning. We then have a daily production meeting that I facilitate, checking on the safety, quality, and delivery and efficiency metrics. Are we on the right track? Did we have a safe day? What do we need to follow up on? As you can imagine right now in a global parts supply shortage and challenges there, just day to day, are we missing any components that weren't able to ship and arrive to us on time? And what do we have to do to react? I would say a lot of our responsibilities, within John Deere, the role that I'm in is considered an operations role. I've got a manufacturing engineering background, and no matter which of those categories or functional areas that I'm in, it's really about solving problems, whether it be a mathematical problem and engineering problem, line design or line rate problem, or just, hey, we have a safety concern or we have a quality issue. It's about solving problems. So really throughout each day, it's directing my team, checking in on them, making sure things are okay. And keeping our leadership team engaged. We have shipping commitments. We have commitments to Wall Street as a publicly owned company. We have all of those commitments to make. So just making sure that we're on track for all of our commitments and both daily short-term goals as well as quarterly and longer-term goals. Some days there's going to be some strategic planning. So for example, next week we have 2 offsite days where the leadership team for the entire factory will spend doing some strategic planning, looking to see how we did this past year and looking to see what we want to change and adjust and focus on for the coming year.
That's incredible. So first of all, can you work remotely? And if so, what does it look like working from?
Yeah, so as far as working remotely, that can be kind of challenging within the manufacturing operation. So for long stints, that would certainly be a challenge. When we, let's say, for example, when we had the COVID year of 2020, a good portion of our factory resources moved off-site and worked remotely. So if you're a manufacturing engineer or a design engineer focusing on the design of the planters or the design of the processes to be able to manufacture those planters, we were able to basically do everything from home. You can log in and get into the John Deere network securely, protecting our proprietary information, and we're able to basically do everything we need, whether it be virtually building a planter to see how it would go together, designing fixtures, designing tooling, or designing the product itself. That could all be done remotely. My position being responsible for factory operations, we actually were not able to work remotely for a consistent amount of time. I was actually, throughout the COVID time period, I was always coming to the factory and had the opportunity as we shut down planters like we do each year, because it's a seasonal business, where we had a handful of weeks off as planned. We actually converted our production operation from planters, and we designed an assembly line or assembly process and built medical face shields. So we were able to stay within the factory. When working remotely, though, and I've had an opportunity to do so for a number of years for short stints, it's very easy. And I think the biggest thing that we try to focus on, and what Deere has provided, if working remotely, providing multiple screens, right? So I think just trying to stay productive, because working off a laptop when you're doing design on that small screen can be a challenge. So providing keyboards, providing mice, even providing some people, if they didn't have the home equipment, to set up an office at home. So within manufacturing itself, not for long stints, but certainly within broader parts of John Deere, there are a lot of opportunities to work remote when necessary.
Thank you. What gets you excited to get out of bed about your job in the morning?
I would say within manufacturing or operations, it's never hard to see where you make a difference. We're working with people every day, trying to deliver, very complex equipment to planters, to our customers every day, planter customers every day. It's very to see where you impact, whether it be, an operator coming to you with a problem where, like, hey, this is a very hard operation, or, my hands kind of hurt when I do this from this repetitive motion, or the ergonomics aren't very good. And, you can make their life easier by making it more efficient, eliminating waste of some sort, higher quality, just instant feedback each and every day. That really is what gets me out of bed. I guess I've always had a desire to work with people, and you get to work with people of all aspects. You get some exposure to the customers. I get to work with design engineers, quality engineers, marketing, customer support, and then a ton of operators. So you have this diverse collection of employees coming together to produce these complex products, and then all of the support teams, whether it be material flow and supply management or manufacturing engineering. So I would just say, just in short, working with people each and every day, touching their lives, and solving problems. Definitely kind of instant gratification. Sometimes it's very challenging on days, but you always can come away with, what, I had this little piece that we made things better.
That's awesome. So, did you choose your career because you could work remotely? Why or why not?
I did not choose from the remote aspect. I would say I was one of the few that didn't go to college and change their majors. It was actually junior year of high school in algebra class. We had to do an assignment, write a paper about what we wanted to do. I didn't have a lot of visibility to manufacturing or engineering, but I had grown up building houses and doing construction with my dad, who was in that business. And so that was really my first job. And so when they said, oh, you're really good at math and science, you enjoy those things, maybe you should look into engineering. So for that assignment, I went and investigated, and I think maybe the manufacturing kind of stuck out to me because it was very similar to building a house. And whether it was turning a blueprint into a physical structure, building a house, manufacturing is taking that product design and developing a process to build that in an assembly line. So I think that was just drawn to it that way. I would say really is what drew me to that. The only other thing, I think I had a part-time job in high school working in retail, and I really enjoyed working with people. And in the engineering field, the manufacturing engineering field seemed to have the most connection with the diverse group of people.
That's incredible. Thinking back, do you notice any interests you had as a youth that align with your current career today?
Yeah, I would say those two things, building homes, doing construction, kind of working with my hands. I was able to kind of make that connection from that into the manufacturing field. Always really enjoyed working with math and solving problems. And that really is the foundation of engineering. And then later on, just operations leadership in terms of bringing people together, solving problems, both short term and long term. I would say those were the key foundational elements for me to lead me into this career and wanted to continue to advance. I would say also not only working with people, but I would say in college began understanding maybe a desire I had to help lead people, help develop them. I just always liked working with people and found maybe I had a knack to be able to help bring people together. And in the operations world, that's my main responsibility, I would say. So whether it be, for manufacturing, it's bringing people and parts together to produce that product. And in the operations field with the people, it's bringing together manufacturing, engineering, quality engineering, material flow, bringing all of them together collectively to help us, have a nice, well-rounded team that can be productive together and help the overall operation succeed. So maybe those things kind of led me to this field and had this desire to lead, coach, and teach people.
Thank you. What type of education and or training prepares you to be a business unit leader?
Yeah, so my undergraduate education was in engineering, and I would say that was definitely the foundation. And maybe not so much that I'm using the physics and the calculus classes that I had to take in college, and it's more about solving problems. And that oftentimes is a lot just getting that foundational education and having the stay with itness to be able to get through all those tough, challenging courses. So that really helped prepare me for some, be able to help overcome really some immense challenges, that you might face to solve tough problems. And then later on, getting just years of experience underneath your belt to understanding, how to work with a different collection of people throughout your career. And then I went back to school and got my master's in business. So I did my engineering undergrad at Iowa State University. I did my master's in business at the University of Iowa. And that was about 7 years into my career that I got my MBA. And then about 13 years into my career, I began working with the Shingo Institute in Utah State University, where I went and got my operations leadership. So it's I guess a leadership certificate there where we worked on operational excellence, really bringing people together, solving problems in a lean and efficient way throughout an organization. So really operational excellence at all levels of the business. Where they taught us to bring people together, solve problems, have a good strategy. If you really think about any business that you're in, you've got to take care of the people and effectively run a business so that you can stay effective. And it's not always about numbers. It's about bringing those people together and for a common cause. And so collectively, those three experiences or three educational experiences really helped prepare me for that beyond my various experiences at John Deere.
Thank you for that. So, could you tell us what the average pay for a person in your position is?
Yeah, so I would say, starting out as a manufacturing engineer, currently the starting salary for an entry-level manufacturing engineer is around $69,000. When I looked that up, that was both where I currently reside in Iowa. It's right on the river, and I work just across the river in Illinois. So it's 69,000 here on average. And then at Utah, it's the same way, within a couple $100s of one another. If I look at the factory manager or operations manager, because there's really not a way to look up business unit leader, and what you'll find as you compare titles across every business, you'll have some companies that say a factory manager title, and they have maybe 10 people reporting to them, and so it's really hard to say there. When I took the kind of the averages of titles like operations manager and factory manager, which was what I could best equate to my business unit leader. Certainly, we have factory managers there at John Deere as well that are at different levels of responsibility. I report to a factory manager, for example, but that range of salaries kind of throughout is $120,000 to well over $200,000 would be that average, depending upon the title, the size of responsibility. But those are some averages in that range. As far as kind of my career, I've been with John Deere for 23 years. So it's definitely not an entry level position. And I've been in this role for 3.5, and then I've been in various other functional area roles of similar experience over the last 10 years. So manufacturing engineering manager, manufacturing engineering supervisor, things like that. So I think that's a pretty good average range on a variety of things within leadership in the manufacturing world.
Thank you for that information. What do you think some skills are that are very necessary to thrive in your career field?
I would say, my core values are integrity, responsibility, and communication, and being strong in each one of those is critical to success in any field. But if you think about integrity and doing what's right when no one's looking, and holding true to that, no matter what challenges you are facing, will lead a lot of people to success. Foundational to integrity also is doing what you say you will do, that say-do ratio. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that people need to be good at to be successful in this field. So if you think about supporting a manufacturing operation and 100 people maybe on one assembly line, each of them coming from a different background, but when they ask for help, when they're have a challenge in front of them, hey, this is inefficient, or this is really hard to do, this part is hard to put together, and we say that we're going to help them, we have to follow up. And so I think that's one of the foundational elements. Teamwork. And I think oftentimes people will say, oh, sports and different things like that, or whether it be a dance team or a football team, or even a play, things like that, where you're having to rely upon another, and having those experiences in the past, because teamwork is absolutely essential. Working with small groups to solve problems, or working with that larger entire assembly line, while you may not be able to make everybody happy, it's critical to be able to effectively listen and connect with people to find some common ground to overcome challenges each and every day. So I think those are some of the most primary fundamental elements: integrity, responsibility, communication, and within those, just the high say-do ratio, collaboration, and just working well with others to solve problems.
That was very insightful. Thank you. What do you think some of the biggest challenges in your career field are?
Yeah, so one of the challenges that I guess the entire United States and maybe globally are facing is just a lack of people looking to enter in maybe like skilled trades fields and things. And so there's such a desire to only go into college and not consider other fields. And so one of the challenges is just filling our factory with the skilled the skills necessary to be productive assemblers, and the skilled trades that support our operation, whether it be production welders or skilled trade welders and electricians. If you think about, we're putting steel together via welding and machining and a complex assembly operation. So one of the biggest challenges we have just throughout the nation is just finding resources that want to go into that field. Outside of that, some of the other tough challenges is just overcoming, and keeping ahead of the competition. John Deere is about 185 years old, and we've luckily been able to be, sustained through that. And you have to be one of John Deere's core values is integrity. So you have to continually do that, and always stay right, because as much credibility as you can build up over the years, you have to stay on top of that to maintain trust with your customers, your suppliers, your colleagues, and trust with the national workforce, just to get people in, and the global workforce. So those are always the challenges there, staying in front of the competition. So you're having to continually innovate as well. So if you think about the changing landscape and incoming technology, the technology and the tools that I used when I started with John Deere 23 years ago versus the tools that are there today. So continuous education, keeping people motivated are also additional challenges that are quite common for us.
That's awesome. What do you think that the most valuable reward that you've reaped from your career choices?
I think impacting people's lives, I would say, is probably the first couple of things that come to mind. I think just being genuine and touching people. For example, I worked with a coworker who was having a tough time when him and his wife brought in a child that had some challenges at birth, and just having that personal connection with him. I suggested, hey, have you looked into, you're very distracted because your daughter's in the hospital, after birth, and have you looked into, getting some time off, short-term disability type of thing. And he did that. And I bet for 5 years after that, every time I saw him, he said, and he thanked me. He's like, I truly to this day believe that my daughter is still here today because you took the time to reach out to me and suggest that I would have never thought of doing, short-term disability just because I was concerned for my daughter's well-being. Thank you for doing that. He thanked me every time I saw him for 5 years. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that comes to mind when I think about maybe my career with John Deere and just that personal touch. I've worked with some tremendous people and been able to maybe touch a few lives, but that's the one that sticks out as far as maybe more tangible, like experiences without my career. I've had the opportunity to, I guess, be part of the design teams for 7 different assembly lines. That's been fantastic. And then I spent 4.5 years as enterprise lean manufacturing leader, where I traveled all over the world, coaching and helping factory resources, factory leadership teams to help improve their operations, connect with their people. I think during that stint or throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to go to, I think, 42 different factories on 4 different continents and I think like 11 different countries. So just a handful of the top things that come to mind from my career.
Thank you. Do you see remote work as an essential part of future careers in your field?
So I think in various portions of my career, it would say it's definitely essential. So from being able to work out in the field and being able to connect our customers who are maybe in rural parts of the United States and around the globe, being able to connect with them, we need to be able to bring the technology and resources that we have, both in our tractors, in our products, as well as we've been able to work in the field and connect to all of our resources to be able to help diagnose, help trial new equipment, help educate our customers. And then, in the manufacturing field specifically, before the products leave and go reach our customers, a portion of our workforce, certainly we have to be able to allow that flexibility because a lot of those tasks can be done anywhere. Some of the core production support resources, that's really hard to do, right? We're producing in a factory, so we can't always do the remote work. But, for example, today I had the day off so that I could move my daughter into college for her sophomore year, but I was able to stay connected mostly through my mobile phone. I'm able to bring up Power BI, which has our metrics all tracked for the day. So I was able to stay in touch with how our production is going for the day, see if there was any problems. So even when not formally working at my laptop, all of us are able to stay connected, or if we're even in the office, in meetings, we can stay connected with how the factory is doing. So at a variety of different levels, certainly this remote work concept is essential to all of us. Yeah.
Thank you for that insight.
Yeah.
Finally, what do you think young people today can do to prepare to work remotely in this field in the future?
I would say, keep an open mind and in terms of what work might look like. And I think the biggest thing about remote work is, I think if you think about working in a facility, whatever that might be, whether it be in a shop where you're selling articles of clothing, or if you're in a factory or whatever, people can see the hard work that you're putting in and working remotely. That can be harder to show, right? So one, it's about maintaining and fulfilling all the commitments and building trust with your colleagues. I think that's important to maintain that ability to work remote, and because people are like, hey, I can't necessarily provide coaching. It's harder to provide coaching and feedback and even recognition when people are working remotely. So I would say as you're going into different fields, maintain those connections with your colleagues. It's not that you can just go walk up to somebody and ask a quick question. So how are you going to maintain those relationships in the remote environment? And it's a lot of, you can text, you can IM. We use Microsoft Teams within John Deere. And so being able to ask quick questions of colleagues and stay connected. So it's still essential to maintain that personal touch, either get insights and things. The best solutions really come from a diverse group of ideas. So maintaining those relationships, I think, would be critical as you consider going into remote work, and how you're going to be able to maintain those, whether it be getting insights from customers and understanding the challenges that they're seeing in whatever field you might go into, or the products that you're going to design. You need to maintain those connections to be able to help deliver what people really would like.
Thank you so much for that insight. And thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to turn it back over to Kelsey.
Absolutely. Thanks, Britton.
Okay, great. Thank you both so much for this interview. Chad, those were really great answers. That was some really, really great information. I loved how much you talked about the life skills. I thought that was really, really interesting. So thanks for all of that information. That was great. And for all of our viewers, I want to let you know that we have a few programs at Utah State University in our College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences that are related to what we learned tonight. So if you want to know more about what those degrees are and what USU has to offer, we have linked a few things in the description of this video. And we also have the link to the Remote Online Initiative program, so you can learn more about what you can do to prepare to work remotely in the future. And then lastly, we have a very short 1 to 2 minute survey. If you watch this video, please take that survey. It will enter you for a chance to win a Cotopaxi backpack. So make sure to check that out. And Chad and Britton, thank you so much again for all of your help tonight. We don't have any questions in the comments on our live video yet, but if we have questions later on, maybe we'll reach out to Chad and see if we can get some answers. So if anyone has follow-up questions and you watch this, post them in those comments. Okay, that's it. Thank you both so much.
Thank you. All the best to you.